So yes, this week we'll focus a bit more on crypto. In particular, retail interest in crypto has been steadily declining. I'll show you guys some on-chain data charts. Then after that, I'll hop on to what we are usually good at, the sterling pound crisis. I've also posted quite a long thread about it. Hope you guys have read it. But if you guys have not, I'll just go through in a bit detail today. And finally, we'll conclude with Russia annexing 4 new territories in Ukraine. What are the ramifications to the global economy, etc., etc. As usual, not financial or legal advice. And a quick shout out to all our current gatherer members. Yeah, right now, guys, we have actually a new policy, in particular, Patron's new policy. All new subscribers will be billed on their joining date rather than the start of each new month. Therefore, previously, I keep saying that, hey, if it's the end of the month, do not join us because Patreon bills you once you subscribe and once more at the start of each new month. Yeah, scrap that. Patreon right now, what they're doing is, whenever you subscribe, say you subscribe on 15th of October, your next billing date will be on the same day next month. Yeah, so anytime is the best time to join us, regardless of whether it's the start of the month or the end of the month. So consider, if you guys are feeling generous, it's about $2 per month. The highest package is about 10 US dollars per month. You guys can check it out. Later, Alex will send a link over there. Allow me to start with Andrew, Yo-Yo, Wendy, Edward, Adam, Alex, Shafiq, Sisi, Atmos, Eric, Yinboy, Cody, Hazik, East, Fitri, Artip, Morpheus, Urshad, CG Ball, Swaki, Dina, Leo, Kid, Mokai, Calvin, Kai, Lanzu, Tian, Roy, Tommy, John, Rodney, Jin Kang, Junlo, Helmi, Adrian, and Eric. Thank you all so much for your support. Right, let's do a quick recap on last week's news. Also, many things happened last week. In particular, the Federal Reserve raised the benchmark interest rate by 75 basis points. Now, this we all expected. The market has already priced in, but the market dumped because the Federal Reserve revealed their dot plot. We showed interest rates peaking between 4.25 to 5% next year, significantly higher than pre-meeting expectations of 4 to 4.75%. Now, the Federal Reserve, in particular Jerome Powell, also mentioned that the Fed is no longer certain if rate hikes will cause a recession. That's even more bearish news. And the chances of a soft landing on the economy will diminish as rates go higher. So that's not good news, obviously. Overall, the summary of the FOMC meeting, Fed's main focus still remains the same: bring inflation back down to 2%. You will not expect them to loosen the monetary policy until inflation reaches their target goal. Understand that our policies will bring pain to households and businesses, but the pain of price instability would be far greater if we don't act swiftly and aggressively. And the new thing here is that we are unsure if we'll tank the economy into a recession, but we'll do our best to avoid it. And you'll be able to see the market reaction afterwards, which is why last week you see Bitcoin going to a low of 18,000 or perhaps 18,002. The next important thing, World War III might be incoming. Yes, we will talk a bit more this week also. Putin last week announced partial mobilization, calling up to 300,000 reservists. And also in his televised address, he wants to use nuclear weapons if provoked and said, I am not bluffing. Yeah, I showed you guys some clips last week also, in particular President Joe Biden saying don't. So yeah, that was a bit of a meme. And lastly, we concluded with Malaysia's inflation at 4.7%. What are the effects on the economy? I also brought up Han's tweet, which I will talk more about Han because we did a recent Twitter space with Han and Mr. Sani also. We also talked about the Malaysian ringgit weakening, etc., etc. Alright, so that's about last week's news. First off, let's start with the Fear and Greed Index this week. Surprisingly, Bitcoin has been quite resilient as an asset. I'm sure you guys taking a look at the macro factors right now, war, Putin, the sterling pound crisis. The sterling pound actually dumped like kind of shitcoin, But you look at Bitcoin, it's still holding steadily at 19,000 last I checked. And you have this Fear and Greed Index, we are still hovering at extreme fear. Honestly, I expected us to go much more lower, maybe at the 10-12 point mark. But maybe this is just Bitcoin being quite resilient as an asset class. And if you allow me to shift to the daily chart for Bitcoin, you'll be able to see the entire week itself, Bitcoin's price action hasn't been varying much. Yeah, it's hovering around 19,000. It kind of flirted 20,000 a bit before dropping back to its current price, I think about 19,001 or 19,002. But as you can see right here, I've decided to add a new indicator in also. Now this is called the Bollinger Bands. You see these blue bands over here? Now what can this tells you? This tells you quite a few things. It can foretell a volatility before it happens. Typically when you see this upper and lower band approaching each other, now this is what we call the squeeze. Yeah, you see the periods of the squeeze is an example right here. Now usually when we see a squeeze, we're going to expect massive volatility in the days or perhaps weeks ahead. So therefore, considering we are so calm the previous 2 weeks already, I am going to make a prediction that the next 2 weeks is going to be quite volatile. Coincidentally, the next big event is the US inflation data release, which is due on 13th on October. And I believe that this is the next big market mover. Yeah, because last week, I also placed a prediction that I think Bitcoin is going back up to 20k, going to stay back there, flirt a while, then come back down. Yeah, that exactly happened also due to the divergence, in the RSI. But right now, what we're looking at is the next US inflation data release, which is probably going to be quite a big market mover. Now, if you're asking me which direction, up or down, I can't tell you because I don't know whether the inflation data report will come out positive or negative. What's for sure is that if it comes out higher than analyst expectations, then you're going to see the market tank. You're going to see Bitcoin revisiting 17.4k, this last line support over here, or maybe even lower. Because why? Despite the Federal Reserve's aggressiveness, still inflation is so stubborn, still inflation refuses to come down, and then it forces the Federal Reserve to be much more aggressive. But on the other hand, if it is much lower than analyst predictions, or if it hits analyst predictions, then probably we will see some upside for Bitcoin. But you know my sentiment. I've been trying to tell you guys the past few weeks or maybe months, it still remains quite bearish because 2022, 2023 is not going to be a very good year for crypto and in particular Bitcoin. So we are gearing up for volatility over here. Next up is, I think you guys missed something important. On Tuesday, the 27th of September, we did a Twitter space session with Hann and Mr. Sani Hamid. Just to introduce these two people for you, Hann is CFP and CFA, Certified Financial Planner, Certified Financial Analyst. He's the ex-CEO of Ringgit Plus. If you guys do not know their website, do check it out. It helps you save a lot on credit card, loans, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure majority of the Malaysians know what Ringgit Plus is. We also have Sani Hamid, as usual. He's joined us for many sessions. And we talked about a variety of different topics, guys. You can listen to the full replay on Spotify and on YouTube, but allow me to just quickly go through what we discussed about. So first of all, Malaysian Ringgit, we focused our first half of the session on this. Why is it weakening against the US dollar? Is it just because the Federal Reserve is hiking rates aggressively? Is this trajectory expected to continue? Why is the US dollar so strong? As Malaysians, should we be worried of our weakening local currency now? Well, short answer is it depends on who you are. Long answer, be sure to listen to their explanations. What caused the crash of the sterling pound? Now we'll go through this a bit more later also. Is the UK economy doomed? How to prepare for a recession? Now this has been quite on a high demand also. What are the do's and don'ts? Now based on these two financial advisors, it's coming from their mouths, not from me. De-risk, de-leverage, maintain your DCA if you have a DCA plan, but most importantly, rebalance.